here for myself, so.
See if any of the candidates really up there.
Oh, yeah.
Pull it
Yeah.
out and walk around a little bit.
That could be. Okay. We ready?
Oh, that light's bright.
Here we are in the blinding light. Good evening.
Let's see if there is an on-off switch right there.
Hello?
Still
Hello? She tested them all. They were live before.
but we don't seem to have local sound. So I'm going to try to speak loudly, and hopefully we'll get it going. But we appreciate your patience. We don't want to delay you any longer. So good evening. I'm Jane Copeland. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of McDonough County. Welcome and thank you for coming this evening. We're delighted to be here tonight. We want to thank Macomb High School for letting us use this wonderful facility, and we want to express our appreciation to the students of Milo, which is the Macomb Youth Leadership Organization, who are helping us out tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We are dedicated to helping voters be informed and encouraging all U.S. citizens to vote. It is part of our tradition to hold nonpartisan candidate forums so that the public can hear from the candidates. We invited all the local candidates this evening, and we're very pleased that so many people have been able to come and have made the time to do it. Our forum is conducted according to the guidelines set by the League of Women Voters of the United States. Those guidelines include these basic rules. No excerpts from the forum may be quoted in campaign material. Promotional campaign materials for any candidate or party for the general election must be kept outside the venue, and there's a couple tables out there for that. We appreciate the cooperation of the candidates and of the audience members in following our guidelines. In addition, we ask that audience members refrain from clapping for individual candidates or disagreeing loudly or whatever, and save those thoughts for the end. We'll be taking questions for the county board. If you need paper and pencil to write questions, please raise your hand, and one of the Milo students will bring them to you. And then if you raise your hand when your question is ready, they'll come get it and they will deliver it to, we have two retired county board members, Alice Henry and Trevor Tolan, here tonight, and they're screening the questions for clarity and interest and against any kind of attacks. Tonight's event is being recorded and live streamed. It will play on channel 15 every day starting this Saturday, and the schedule for that is actually on the back of your program. It'll also be available on our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find the link on our Facebook page. Tri-States Radio is also streaming our program. Before we start on the local program, I wanted to say something quickly about some advisory questions that are on the ballot. An advisory question is a type of ballot measure that is non-binding, so the outcome of the ballot measure has no effect on states' laws. There are various reasons for non-binding questions. Their general purpose is to allow government officials to gauge public opinion on certain policies or subjects. There are 3 on the Illinois ballot. I'm going to just read you what those questions are. Question 1 is from the Election Worker Protection and Candidate Accountability Referendum Act, and the question is, should any candidate appearing on the Illinois ballot for federal, state, or local office be subject to civil penalties if the candidate interferes or attempts to interfere with an election worker's official duties? The second question is, from the Property Tax Relief and Fairness Referendum Act, should the Illinois Constitution be amended to create an additional 3% tax on income greater than $1 million for the purpose of dedicating funds raised to property tax relief? And the third question is from the Assisted Reproductive Health Referendum Act, and it is, should all medically appropriate assisted reproductive treatments, including but not limited to in vitro fertilization, be covered by any health insurance plan in Illinois that provides coverage for pregnancy benefits without limitation on the number of treatments? So those 3 questions, which people can answer either yes or no, and again, they're non-binding, but I just wanted to let you know that they were available, that they would be on the ballot. Okay, our moderator for tonight is Rich Eggers, the news director at Tri-States Radio. Rich has performed this service for us many, many times in the past, and we're grateful that he's here again tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and welcome everyone. Thanks for coming out this evening to join us for this forum for the general election candidates to help us prepare for Tuesday, November 5th, voting the election just around the corner. Tonight, we will hear first from candidates for McDonough County Circuit Clerk, Coroner, and State's Attorney. After that, we will hear from candidates for the McDonough County Board, and then the candidate for Illinois House District 71. After the program, there will be a short reception with refreshments. We invite you to stay and speak individually with the candidates at that time. As Jane mentioned, you may submit written questions for county board candidates this evening. Raise your hand to get paper and pencil, then raise your hand again to have your question picked up by a member of the Macomb Youth Leadership Organization. And we have timekeepers in the front row to keep us on schedule here. They'll raise cards to let the speakers know when to wrap up. So let's get underway and start hearing from the candidates. Ian Fisher, he is the incumbent candidate for Circuit Clerk, running unopposed. You have a couple minutes to speak to us about your position and your candidacy.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. As Rich said, I'm Ian Fisher. I'm the McDonough County Circuit Clerk. My wife, Erin Fisher, and I both went to school right here at Macomb High, then across town at Western Illinois University. I have two kids that go to school here right now, a freshman and a junior. We love McDonough County. It was a wonderful place to grow up. I made lifelong friends being here. And it has been a great place to raise a family. In 2006, Kim Wilson hired me at the Circuit Clerk's office as a deputy clerk. I subsequently served as her criminal supervisor and then her chief deputy until she decided it was time for her to retire, and the county board appointed me circuit clerk. During my time with the office, the court system and the clerk's office has changed a lot, legislatively and a whole lot of technology. I've enjoyed the opportunity to navigate those changes for McDonough County, and I look forward to serving the community in the years to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Next, we'll hear from our coroner, Eric Jameson. Why don't you come on up and speak to us for a couple minutes? Thanks.
I'm going to ask the candidates to kind of lean into the microphone so everybody can hear. You can pull it out if you need to.
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. Thank you to the Macomb High School for allowing us to use the Reverend C.T. Vivian Library here this evening. Thank you to the students from the Milo program. Thank you, Rich Egger, for being here tonight. And thank you all for being here tonight. It's important that you take charge in your own knowledge of who you're voting for and why you're voting for those people. I've been blessed to be your coroner since 2008, and I was with the office for about five years prior to that as a deputy. I've enjoyed serving the county over the last almost 16 years here. I've got to be honest with you, the first 12 were a little bit different than the last 4. Over the last 4 years, there's been quite a few changes, at least in the coroner's office, not only how we conduct business, but the type of business that we conduct. As we all know, we went through a pandemic through the last term, the last 4 years. That was definitely something that was something none of us have ever seen, something that I've never encountered in my industry, in the death care industry. Also, over the last term, in the first 12 years prior to this term, in 2020, I had 1 homicide. In the last term, in the last 4 years, we've had 10 homicides in the county. So again, the type of work and the things that are happening in McDonough County have changed, but we have been successful in all of those challenges, I believe, and I look forward to continue to serve you all as your coroner for the next 4 years. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Now we would like to hear from State's Attorney Matt Kwakala. If you'd like to come forward and speak to us for a couple minutes. It's not quite gonna work.
I'll figure it out.
You're loud.
I'm loud. Hey, good evening. I'm Matt Kwakala. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me here. I'm the state's attorney in McDonough County. I have been for the last 8 years. I'm running again for another 4. Couldn't be prouder of my office. As the coroner just pointed out, it's been a busy 2 years, the last 2 years. You know, such is life, and we got to move on and hopefully bring justice to everyone here in McDonough County. I just want everyone to know, though, the last 8 years, how hard this job really is, and I couldn't do it without the best staff in the world. I have 7 staff members, and none of them have left since I hired them. And I consider that probably my greatest accomplishment, because I've had people turn down better paying jobs to stay and work at the state's attorney's office. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud to be a lifelong citizen of McDonough County, born and raised here in Macomb, and I was just watching the Bombers play. My daughter's on the volleyball team against Bushnell, and I was thinking, what a McDonough County battle we have here, Macomb versus Bushnell. But anyway, you know, you guys know how to get a hold of me. My phone number, my email are out there for public. I love it. Answer any questions you have, any concerns that you have, and I always tell people, court's open, you know, court's public. You can always go in there as long as it's not juvenile court. So, and we need more foster families too. So if anyone is ever interested in doing something like that, foster family or CASA, please, we need your help. Thank you very much.
Our next segment is for county board candidates. We'll seat them by district, and we will use this format. Each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. After all the candidates have introduced themselves, we will ask some questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the question, and after the questioning period is over, each candidate will have 1 more minute to wrap up or summarize. At this time, we'll ask the candidates for County Board District 1 to come forward and take a seat at one of these tables. And as a reminder to our candidates, the timekeepers in the front row will keep us on schedule here. Have a seat wherever you like. And they will raise the cards to help the speakers stay within the allotted times. You want to look for them right down over here. Come on down.
Maybe a couple people go on the side so we kind of balance out maybe each. Yeah, that'd be perfect, thanks. Everything's here. We'll go ahead and
Well, we're about to find out. I do believe they're working. As long as this one is working, they should all be working. We're all seated. These are County Board District 1 candidates here. Let's start on my right and introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Dave Bartlett. I am the first time I've run for any type of public office. I'm a native of Rushville, Illinois. I went to the Rushville schools, went to college at Quincy University, and then my undergrad, and then my master's degree at Eastern Illinois University. For 18 years, I worked at St. Anthony High School in Effingham as a teacher, administrator, coach, principal. I did a lot of things there. And then in 1997, our family moved to McDonough County. and I was hired as Director of Athletics and Activities at the Macomb School District, and I retired in 2019. I still work part-time for the district as a teacher, and I'm a consultant for the ROE.
Dana?
I'm Dana Roy Walker. Please excuse my appearance this evening. I came straight here from marking timber for harvest in Hancock County. I'm happy to be here on Jimmy Carter's 100th birthday. I'm in my second year of service on the McDonough County Board. I was appointed to the Buildings and Grounds, ELMS, and the Human Resources and Planning Committees. I take my part-time job for McDonough County very seriously. I haven't missed any meetings, and I do my homework. I always vote for what I think is best for the county. My number is listed in the phone book, the original social network, and is connected to an answering machine. I grew up on a farm near Carthage and am a graduate of Carthage High School and the University of Illinois, Urbana. I've lived in Macomb for more than 30 years and am now a consulting forester and tree farmer in Hancock County. I am a fiscal conservative and try to think long-term. Our courthouse renovation is a major investment, as a solar array at the Elms would be. I currently serve as president of Environmentally Concerned Citizens and the Lemoyne River Ecosystem Partnership, and I am an active member of Wesley United Methodist Church.
Thank you. Can you all hear in the back? Everything okay? All right. You're up next, sir.
Okay. Hello, my name is Michael Kirby, and I moved here to McDonough County in November of 2009, so I'm coming up on my 15th year here in McDonough County, and I've been on the county board for 5 years now. And I'm on the Law and Legal Committee, and I'm also on the HR Planning Committee, which primarily deals with the oversight of the animal shelter. So the Humane Society of McDonough County is making a major fundraising push to build a new animal shelter in the county, and I am strongly in favor of this. I was on the board for 4 years before I went into the animal shelter to have a look, because I knew that once I got in there, I'd want to adopt an animal, and I already have one. I met my wife here, Dr. Amy Carr, in McDonough County, and decided to settle here. And like Dana, I try to always vote my conscience and also what I think will be best for the county. And thank you for coming here tonight, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us here.
Thank you. My name's Ken Durkin. I'm a candidate for District 1 County Board. I've been on the board since 2020. This is my third one of these, but I kept on drawing the 2-year terms, so this will be my first 4-year term if reelected to that position. I've been in McDonough County since 1982. Met my wife here. Our 2 daughters were born here and graduated from our great school system, so we're quite proud of that. I retired after 34 years of service in the School of Law Enforcement and Justice Administration at Western, and my wife retired after 30-plus years at Macomb School District 185. I've been on Law and Legal, ESDA, Road and Bridge, Law and Legal, and Finance over my tenure with the County Board. I look forward to continuing that if you give me that opportunity, and I appreciate your support, and thank you very much.
All right, let's get to some questions. And again, if you have a question you would like to ask, raise your hand. We'll get you some paper and pencil to write down the question and have it brought up here. The issue of the animal shelter was brought up in these opening remarks. We're going to start with you, Mr. Walker. What do you believe the county could do to help the Humane Society of McDonough County achieve its goal of building a new animal shelter? What could the county do?
Well, we've been doing some things. We haven't put up a lot of money. Maybe there'll be some available later on. We don't know for sure. We do have a registration of cats starting up very soon, which will help our budget because it costs some money to register a cat, $10 for a year.
Mr. Kirby.
Well, I didn't complete my thought, but our current animal shelter is reaching the end of its usable lifespan, and it's crowded, and the staff there works extremely hard to keep the animals comfortable. And I think it would be really a great thing for our county to have a new animal shelter. And it would be wonderful if we could get enough of the county board members to vote to spend some county money on establishing this new shelter. Because currently with the thinking of the committee that I sit on is that the county just wants to maintain its position of paying for the cost of the electricity and the power and the gas for the shelter and the employees, but the county doesn't want to spend money on actually purchasing land or constructing a building, because it is very expensive. So we're kind of hoping that we have a donor come forward to make the new shelter construction possible. Thank you.
Mr. Durkin?
I would agree with those comments. I might be a little biased in that because my wife has been working hard with the Macomb Community Pet Project and spay and neutering. I also reworked the ordinance, so, you know, I'll take all the responsibility for implementing a 3-year tag. That had been a comment of mine since I ever came here, that we needed to be able to have that availability to license, register our pets for 3 years if you so choose. So yes, something needs to be done. I have monitored that quite extensively and given my thought to Human Resources Committee. So I'll continue to do that, and my significant other will continue to push me to do that. And yes, we do need to totally support the animal shelter, and something I'm confident will be done in that area fairly soon.
Your thoughts, Mr. Bartlett?
To me, that's one of the main issues coming forward in the county. I do think that there's a lack of funding for the animal shelter and for animal control. I think that as a board, we could still try to work together to come up with some public funding, but I do know the Humane Society of McDonough County has done a great job raising funds, and I hope that there are other opportunities out there for grant applications that we could apply for to help with the funding, but there is a definite need.
Next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Kirby. Do you believe the county should stream and record its full county board and county board committee meetings? And please explain why you favor or oppose this.
Well, I would say that I am in favor of it. I think the public needs as much information as it can get about what the county's up to. But I also, from experience, know that we very rarely have members of the public attending our committee meetings, extremely rarely. And even the full board meetings are not generally well attended by the public. Occasionally we get some more attendance from the public. The issue of the CO2 pipelines brought in a lot of folks who had real concerns about CO2 pipelines being built on their property. So I'm in favor of it. I think there might be some challenges involved, but I do think it's a good idea.
Mr. Durkin?
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's already an open meeting. Things are already public records, so this obviously equipment and somebody to handle that would be something that might be an added expense, but I've got no problem with that at all.
Mr. Bartlett?
At this time, I see no reason why it shouldn't happen. My initial thought, it would be fine to stream the meetings.
Mr. Walker?
They certainly are public meetings, and I support total transparency in that. It's a question of how much it would cost to do it, too, I think, whether anyone would watch, but it's something we could do, and I'd support doing that.
You know, and one other added comment, we already did that with Zoom. So we had an open line when we had to Zoom everything, so it's there, or could be there. Thank you.
Next question comes from the audience. We'll start with you, Mr. Durkin. What do you view as our top 2 priorities?
Probably resources, infrastructure, and personnel. I'll throw 3 in there. Dwindling revenue, we have dwindling population in McDonough County. My district alone was down 5,000 because of Western. That's part of District 1. I'd say our district because this is all District 1. So that's obviously a concern. Personnel, you know, Matt's fortunate that he was able to keep his staff for that length of time. He's lost quite a few assistant state's attorneys. Law enforcement's got the same issue, being able to attract quality individuals and keep them here. So, you know, personnel, when we start dwindling population, we have less to choose from. So, and then resources, you got a heavy thing with your tax liabilities, so, or your property tax rather. So it would be nice to maybe get some relief there that would, to assist the operations, because it's, you know, it costs a lot of money to run the county effectively.
Mr. Bartlett, top two priorities?
I think the Animal Center is, to me, my personal one, but I also think the infrastructure and the county roads are important to maintain. So with my the little experience I have, those are the issues that I think would be the top for me.
Mr. Walker?
I've been involved in promoting a solar array at the Elms. We have the money in the bank to pretty much pay for it. It would improve, of course, their bill would go down to practically nothing, their power bill. That's one priority. Otherwise, try to promote the community, and the university is in our District 1, and do all we can to help Western get back on a positive note.
Mr. Kirby?
I'd like to agree with what Mr. Walker said. I think that by making progressive policies, like what he described about having a solar array on the Elms, and also an renovated, updated, or entirely new animal shelter, these are the sort of things that make our county look good to outsiders and make people consider relocating and living here. And we need that because, like Ken said, we need to protect our tax base, and I think the best way of doing that and also supporting Western Illinois University is having something of a reputation of being a progressive county, or at least a multifaceted county. We don't want to send out messages to the wider world that we only think one way about how to do well for the county.
What about economic development? How can the county attract more economic development? Mr. Bartlett, could you get us started?
I'm not really sure at this time.
Mr. Walker?
There are incentives, and of course, the state is heavily involved in this, but incentives for that solar array at the Elms. It's practically paid for in 5 years' time, and that's one way to help the county's economy.
Mr. Kirby?
Yeah, I think we've all seen the bumper sticker, think globally, act locally. And I think Mr. Walker is right on about having the county invest some money in producing energy, clean energy locally. And I've invested money to produce power at my home. And if, you know, this would catch on and the county would get behind solar array construction and clean energy production in the county. We are having a new wind facility being built in the next couple of years in the southeastern corner of the county, and I'm proud to be able to tell you that there is complete bipartisan support for the wind energy facility, which will provide significant tax money for the county. So we're doing some things right. And I think we could do more, and everything that we do that is attractive to people will help support the university as people decide to make their lives here like I did so many years ago, not knowing anything about McDonough County at the time.
Mr. Durkin?
I agree with Mike on that one. The solar part of it, I was fortunate enough to be involved in writing that ordinance. We've got 2 of those that will hopefully go online in the not too distant future, which would hopefully generate some additional revenues for us. In the process of working up a solar ordinance right now for commercial solar energy projects. I think we get that on the books because we do get a lot of calls reference whether or not we have an ordinance. We do not at this time, but I would envision that happening this coming next year to have that. So maybe some entities out there that are interested in developing some solar energy projects will consider McDonough County. Produce a good quality of life in McDonough County. That's going to attract businesses. They're going to want to come here, beef up Western Illinois University to get additional population, which then would also support a good workforce. So those are all going to be positive things. Thank you.
Let's take closing comments from the candidates here. We'll start with you, Mr. Walker.
Well, I'm very happy that we have good attendance tonight. There's a vice presidential debate coming up later, and we might miss part of that, but I guess that's okay. I appreciate, like I said, the attendance, and I would ask for your support to give me another 4 years on the board, try to get some more things done. I'm very diligent in trying to accomplish what I think is best for McDonough County.
Mr. Kirby.
Well, I want to thank Ken for the work that he's done on this solar ordinance. He's really invested a lot of his time on looking at ordinances that other counties have already done and making some suggestions about how we should tax that. And I also want to commend Dana for his very powerful advocacy for these solar panels on the elms, because initially he wasn't getting a lot of support for that idea, but he's been consistent, and I think he's been able to persuade a significant amount of members of that committee to come around to see the benefits of producing our own energy, clean energy, locally, and being able to disentangle ourselves as a county, a state, and a nation from fossil fuel energy sources in other parts of the world that are not beneficial to the United States. And thank you for your vote. If you have voted for me in the past, I hope you'll vote for me again, either this October or this November. I really enjoy being on the board and seeing that government, small d, democratic government, really does work. It's the best way. In my mind, it's the only way to properly run a county, a state, or nation.
Mr. Durkin.
I'll pat Mike on the back, too. He's been quite an advocate of charging stations for electric vehicles. So I know he's very passionate about that. But I also appreciate your support and look forward to hopefully serving you for another 4 year, my first 4-year term on the board and continuing our work to enhance and improve the quality of life in McDonough County. So thank you again for your interest and your support, and hope you have a great evening.
And Mr. Bartlett.
Thank you, Rich. I want to mention that, again, that this is the first time I've run for any public office, and I'm not going to deny it. This is way out of my comfort zone. And I'm still not familiar with a lot of the issues, but I've had a lot of experience in making tough decisions in my career. And most importantly, one of the things that I had to do in my career at the Macomb School District is collaboration. And that's what I could bring to the board. I work well with people, and I know some of the people on the board already, so I'll learn as I go.
Please thank these folks for coming out and speaking to us this evening. You are dismissed. And if the candidates for District 2 could please come forward. Do we have any candidates from District 2 here this evening? District 2, District 2, District 2. If we do not have any candidates from District 2, let's skip ahead to District 3 with the District 3 candidates. Please come forward and join us here this evening. Thank you for joining us for a bit this evening. And we're going to start off. We're going to allow each of you 1 minute to introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Let's start off all the way on my left here.
I'm Tara Litchfield. I've been on the county board for almost 6 years. I am born and raised here. I've been a lifetime McDonough County resident. I have 2 children and their spouses, and I have 2 granddaughters, and they all live here in McDonough County. And actually, my family's been here for almost 90 years, and they just came over from Fulton County because the Camp Ellis took their farm. So I am very proud of being a McDonough County resident. It's a wonderful place to live and also to raise your children too. 15 seconds. And I guess that's really about it.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
Isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jack, good one.
Yep.
I'm Jack Hardeman. Lived here most of my life. Married my wife Sherry. She was from here. I've been an auctioneer for 61 years. I've sold auctions from border to border, coast to coast. Life has been great. McDonough County's been very good to me, and this is a way for me to give back to it.
Everybody, my name is Tim Roberts. Thanks to the league for hosting it, the event. Glad to be back here. I want to be on the county board to encourage people to move to the county and to encourage people who grew up here to stay put. We want people to come here. Anybody who wants to work or go to school and spend money is welcome. Counties that welcome and incentivize outsiders flourish. Counties that don't diminish. We're losing population, especially among 20-year-old people, and we could try to reverse that. The county could be more entrepreneurial. We should develop more of a strategic vision. The last plan was in 2012, and provide incentives for small businesses, for people to start business, incentivize farmers who want to diversify their crops. We have resources in the county, the WIU, WIRC. We could partner with them to bring knowledge and outside funding, not local tax increases for these kinds of things. Thank you.
Hi, I'm William Thompson. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I've been in McDonough County for 23 years. I worked at Western Illinois University as a librarian and as an English professor. I was also the president of the faculty and academic staff union while I was out there, and chair of faculty senate. I'm active in the community. I belong to St. Paul's Catholic Church. I volunteer at the Country View Nursing Home. I volunteer at the hospital. I volunteer with these guys. I volunteer a lot. I've really enjoyed being in McDonough County. It's given me a lot of happiness, and I've grown a lot while I've been here. I want to give back to the county. I want to work for our common good in the present moment, and the common good that we will all have in the future. That's it. I'm done.
All right.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Ketchum. I have lived here in McDonough County for 15 years. My son is 15, goes to school right here. Let's see, I grew up on a farm outside of Schuyler, like outside of Rushville, Illinois, a little town called Browning. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it. So I know what hard work is like, and I know how important it is to collaborate with your neighbors, especially when you need help with things. And I really think that that is one of the things that I can bring to this, to our community while being, if elected to be on the board. And I would love to have the opportunity to possibly help with economic growth, keep our county moving forward. So I would really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Litchfield. I'm a farmer here in the southeastern portion of McDonough County. I was born and raised here, met my wife here, and we were raising a family here. We've got a 6-month-old baby at home that she's with now. And it was mentioned earlier that we're losing population, especially among young people, and I hope to represent those young people going forward. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of McDonough County for hosting this event and having us here tonight. And thank you for coming and listening and for your support.
Let's start with the questions, and a reminder, if you have a question you would like to ask, raise your hand. We'll get a paper and pencil or pen to you. You can write down the question, and we'll try to get that in this evening. We're going to start, Mr. Louderman, we'll start with the question asked of the last group from the audience. What do you view as the county's top 2 priorities?
Well, fiscal responsibility would be one thing in my estimation, and being truthful with the public.
Mr. Roberts?
Like I said, I think economic recovery and development is our #1 priority above everything else. We need to see Western and the community as partners. There is money left on the table by this local government. There is outside money that is available, and it's going to go to somebody. It may as well come to us. A more creative and entrepreneurial and imaginative government can bring money in to incentivize local businesses, to incentivize people who go through things like the CEO program to stay here, to make the place a more flourishing county, to get people to want to move here and raise their families like I have. For me, the economic situation is critical.
Mr. Thompson?
I think the most important thing we need to do is to prepare for the future. We know that it's coming at us. We know it's going to be very different from the present. We know that, as been noted before, we're losing population. Our aging population, people above 60, that's our fastest growing population. We need to prepare so that this county will be a welcoming place for younger people. We need to prepare so that we're going to be more self-sustaining around energy, because we know that the grid is not going to be as reliable as it has been. And we need to think about how we can protect the weakest among us, whether those are the hungry, the homeless, or the poor.
Ms. Ketchum?
Hi. So I would say that the first thing that, again, everyone has touched on is economic growth. I believe that we should be able to partner with Western, and not only Western, but our community college as well, Spoon River College. I went to Spoon River to get my associate's degree, and then I went to Western to get my degree in political science, and then I went to law school in Carbondale, Illinois. So I know that we talk a lot about Western, but I would say that community college is just as important. There are a lot of opportunities that they provide for up-and-coming contributors to society with great jobs, nursing, agriculture, all of those things. I think that there are ways for us to partner with them and figure out a way to keep those students in our community and keep them here so that we can grow. And another issue is what he brought up was the homelessness. There is a growing population of homelessness here in this county, and I think that that is something that needs to be addressed.
Mr. Litchfield?
Infrastructure is ever evolving. It's always changing. It's aging, being rebuilt. I think that's always a focal point, especially I see that as a farmer. We're all over the roads and bridges in the county, and so that's always on my mind. And then also, I'm a pet lover. I've got 3 pets at home. My father-in-law is a veterinarian, so I'm around animals all the time. And the animal shelter is definitely in need of some attention. And so that would be something close to me that I think I could provide beneficial insight to.
Ms. Litchfield?
Don't goof up.
I'll try not to. I would say that we probably need to be more transparent, just more transparency, and then also fiscally responsible. I believe that the county probably needs to work a little bit more with some of our partners here in town for economic development to help the whole county flourish, and that'd be what I say.
Mr. Roberts, we will start with you with this next question from the audience. Should the county provide financial support for the construction of a new animal shelter?
Short answer is no. I don't think that we can afford it, but we can certainly be a bully pulpit for raising money. I'm in touch. I support them a lot. I think they're very creative and passionate people. I think the county board could do things like try to identify property that's available. I know they've had a couple of times where there's been possibilities to get land donated. I think it should be done mainly through private funds, but the county board can certainly raise the issue and consider some, a little bit of money to incentivize other people to give.
Mr. Thompson?
I respectfully disagree with my friend, Dr. Roberts. I think to the degree that we can afford to support the animal shelter, we should support the animal shelter. How we treat the weakest in our community reflects a lot about who we are as a community, right? And when people are coming here from the outside, if they see that we treat the weakest with kindness and respect, then the weakest are the animals, right? They can't vote or anything like that. That tells people a very positive message about who we are. I don't say that the county board has enough money to solve all these problems, but to the degree that we can, we should probably be also helping write grants that would bring in money for these kinds of things if it's out there. I remember that in Proverbs it says, a wise man regardeth the life of his beast, right? And wise community regardeth the lives of its beasts. Done.
Ms. Ketchum?
Yeah, so this is my first time running, so this is a new issue that has been brought to my attention. So I'm not exactly aware of all of the issues with the animal shelter exactly. But what I will say, it would be beneficial to look at what we have for funding and see if anything can be allocated towards it. If nothing can be allocated towards it, then I would agree that we should try fundraising or grant proposals or any sort of public donations or anything like that to achieve that goal.
Mr. Litchfield?
I speak to a lot of landowners, and constant concern of theirs is the property tax bill. So without being intimately familiar with the current financial standing of the county, I can't say for certain whether or not it's a good idea to support the animal shelter fiscally in rebuilding a building, even though I do believe that it is a priority for us to support the animal shelter.
Ms. Litchfield?
You're up.
Should the county provide financial support for the construction of a new animal shelter?
I would probably say no. And I think we probably need to help out with the Humane Society as much as we can and possibly can. I know that we get a lot of donations for the animal shelter with, leaving it for people that have passed or whatever, so I would say no.
Mr. Louderman, and you can back off the mic just a little bit.
What was the question again, please?
Go ahead.
What was the question again,
It
please?
is, should the county provide financial support for the construction of a new animal shelter?
No. I've had personal experience with McDonough County Animal Shelter. They were in the process looking in my place. It was going to cost $1,500,000 to bring it up to their standards. Now, if I couldn't find somebody a hell of a lot cheaper than that, I'd throw in the towel.
Next question from the audience. Start with Mr. Thompson. How do you feel is the best way to deal with the homeless situation that is developing in the county?
First of all, what I would say is that the homeless are our neighbors. They live among us and with us, and we should treat them as if they're our neighbors, not as if they're some kind of wild, ravenous beast that we all should be afraid of and treat badly. I think the county should, to the extent that it can, should work towards building a decent homeless shelter where people can be treated with kindness and respect. We should actively seek out grant money from wherever you can seek it out from, whether it's from the state or from benevolent associations across the country. Again, it's how we treat the people who are weakest that says the most about who we are. And if we don't treat people that are weak well, it says a lot about, who we do treat well, right? And I would rather punch down than punch up rather than punch down when it comes to, helping people. So yeah, I think we should absolutely look into it and try the best we can to create a better situation for the homeless.
Ms. Ketchum?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. How do you feel is the best way to deal with the homeless situation that is developing in the county?
Oh, the best way. Man, that's a tough one because they're just in my experience with seeing what homelessness does to people, there's really not one way to address it. There's always more than, as we say, and as we said back on the farm, there's more than one way to skin a catfish, right? So I would say that there's probably not one single way to address that issue. I would say that there's probably multiple facets that we can utilize to our benefit and for their benefit as well. Because when other people are succeeding around us, then we succeed as well. So I think that's probably the way that we need to look at this instead of looking at it as a singular way to fix that issue.
Mr. Litchfield?
I would echo that sentiment. I don't think there's a single way to treat homelessness. The best thing that I think we can do right now is to plug those people into resources that exist currently, organizations and people in our community who are willing to help and able to help, making connections for those people and finding a path for them.
How do you feel is the best way to deal with the homeless situation that is developing in the county, Ms. Litchfield?
I agree with what Ryan and, is it Tiffany?
Yes.
Say, as far as that goes. But I don't think there's just one way of handling that. But I suppose it just gets together some resources, and I know that there's jobs here, so I suppose that would help too, where they could get them a job.
Mr. Louderman?
I'd give him a job, he was sweeping the streets.
Mr. Roberts?
So this is an issue that requires multiple pieces in motion, and it requires law enforcement, knowledgeable about what things identify people as homeless. It requires mental health professionals, healthcare professionals who can render services. So if somebody perhaps isn't trained to clean the streets, can be equipped to do that. It requires access to food relief, something that we need in this county. There are food deserts in McDonough County. I worked with Genesis Gardens to deliver food during COVID, and I saw the county's poverty, and there's hidden hunger in this county especially outside of Macomb. We need short-term shelters, of course, for both males and females to keep them safe. But in the longer term, we need to get them vocationally trained to be productive members of the society. I totally echo what Dr. Thompson said. We need to be welcoming to everybody.
Next question, also from the audience. We'll start with you, Ms. Ketchum. What can we do to provide better mental health resources in the county?
I only get 1 minute to answer this question. Wow, that's a really good question. So I would say it all starts with education, right? I mean, if we train people how to handle someone when they encounter a situation who's having a breakdown of sorts, for lack of a better term, if we can train people on a larger scale, and so they can help those people that need it most, right? Not just not just calling an ambulance and then saying, hey, I found this person, okay, bye. You know, I think that there are a lot of things that we can do, especially like partnering with we have 2 colleges here in this town. We can partner with them, for example. We have a lot of law enforcement, I lost my train of thought. A lot of law enforcement personnel that we can communicate with as well. We also have, the Department of Human Services. There are tons of ways that we can get information out there for people to train them.
Thank you. Mr. Litchfield, what can we do to provide better mental health resources in the county?
I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with the current resources that we have, but to that point, we do have a lot of institutions that exist today, including the hospital. I don't think I heard your name. I know they've had a behavioral health unit there in the past. Law enforcement deals with this issue daily, multiple times a day, and so it would really start with communication, I think, with people that see this, and continue from there.
Ms. Litchfield?
Well, that hits home because I lost my husband 8 years ago from suicide, and the mental health in this county is horrible to get. And I know that we just need more doctors and nurses here, and so I would assume that we'd probably need to look at and work with the hospital, because, like I said, I know there's a lot of mental health problems in this county, and I'm sure it's through the state and all that too. But it's just hard finding professionals for that, so I don't know. I mean, we just have to look for resources.
Mr. Louderman?
I'd say educate.
Do you care to elaborate at all?
Repeat the question one more time, please.
What can we do to provide better mental health resources in the county?
Well, getting to education, a lot of people don't understand about mental health. It's a serious problem in our country today. Everybody in this room, we have some kind of a mental blockage.
Mr. Roberts?
So the current county assessment of needs and the Illinois Department of Public Health said that mental health and dental health are the 2 critical health problems in this county. We can't just shake our heads. We can do things. We can create financial incentives for healthcare professionals to come here and stay here. We need to have mental health professionals available for teenagers, especially as well as for adults. We spend about $10 on buildings for every dollar we spend on mental health in this county, and the ratio could be more balanced, in my view. That's what I would do.
Can I add to that?
Can we hear from Mr. Thompson,
Okay,
and
go
then I'll allow you to follow up with something there. Go ahead.
Yeah, again, mental health is one of those really complex questions, problems that is not easy to solve, and it's not cheap. Anyone who is, I'm in therapy, I know it's really expensive, right? So what we need is the ability to address the mental health issues that are across our county in ways that are sustainable and effective. I mean, one way to do that is to hire as many social workers as we can. I know the police department, for example, you mentioned that. They have a social worker. Maybe they need another social worker, right? Maybe the health department could use a couple of social workers who could help with the mental health issues in the community. Because hiring a psychologist or a neurologist or someone like that, way expensive. And then education, for sure. Letting people know what services are available, where they're available. How is it that you can go to behavioral health if you don't have any money? They do have ways of doing that there. So, yeah.
Ms. Litchfield, sure.
I just wanted to add one thing, because I am on the health board too, the McDonough County Health Department board. And we know that there is the dental problem and the mental problems here in McDonough County that's the two number one things. And it's not like we haven't tried very hard to find a dentist, more dentists, and also mental health help in this county as far as the health department goes. And that is something that we probably monthly in our meetings that we go over. But to no avail, we just can't seem to be able to attract anybody, so.
Thank you. Just to give everyone a fair chance, did anyone else want to add anything in response to that question? Yes, Mr. Thompson.
I want to say that both the dental problem and the mental health problems, those are also community moral issues, right? They speak very deeply to who we are as a community and what we're willing to do as a community to help those people. I mean, it is insane that poor children cannot get dental health in this county. That is criminal. We should just be ashamed every day of that. The same with the mental health.
Mr. Litchfield, we'll start with you. Do you believe the county should stream and record its full county board and county board committee meetings? And please explain why you favor or oppose this.
Yes, they're public meetings, so long as it's not cost prohibitive, and I don't see why it would be. I think that's a great way to get people involved too, actually. If these meetings are more accessible, I think could make people take note and care about their community a little more even.
Ms. Litchfield?
I totally agree that that is a good way to get people involved, because I don't think a lot of people realize just exactly what the McDonough County Board does. And so I really think that if we recorded them, televised them, that would be a very good way of transparency as far as what the county board goes to.
Mr. Louderman?
Repeat the question one more time.
Sure. Do you believe the county should stream and record its full county board and county board committee meetings? And please explain why you favor or oppose this.
I think they should record it, but I don't think they should stream it. The public don't have the perception of understanding what's really being said. And the next day, they'll be talking about this, talking about that, and they don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Mr. Roberts?
So I disagree. I think the meeting should be streamed. Everybody said C-SPAN would, diminish interest in government, but that didn't happen. If people want to watch the meetings, we should give them every chance, especially young people need to see involvement in government at the local level. They should learn that government has to do with them, and if they don't get involved, other people will make decisions for them. So I am very much for government transparency. There's nothing wrong with shining a light and letting people decide if they want to keep up with the meetings of the board and even the committee meetings.
Mr. Thompson?
Absolutely, we should do that. I mean, this is a democracy, right? And the people need to know what the government is doing in their name. And it's also about their money, right? The people need to know how we're spending their money. So I would say absolutely we should stream them. And not only should we stream them, we should also archive them after they've been streamed, right? We should save them and we can put them in the archives over at Western Illinois University so they'll be available forever and ever, right? Because that actually is creating a valuable historical record of what we believed and how we acted when we had problems in McDonough County.
Ms. Ketchum?
Yeah, I believe that it is important to stream the meetings, not only because it gives transparency, but it also gives the opportunity for the community to engage, ask questions if needed, clarify things like that. I think it really makes it more of a back and forth for both sides. So I think it's very important to have the opportunity to do that.
Let's get to one more question from the audience and then move on to the closing comments. Ms. Litchfield, what would be ways the board could improve the infrastructure to entice families to want to relocate to McDonough County?
Well, I would imagine the roads would be one of them. I know our county roads, they've been working diligently trying to get them up to par, but I think it's the lack of, that it hasn't been able to be done for quite some time, that we're kind of running way behind on that. So I would have guessed that.
Mr. Louderman, what would be ways the board could improve the infrastructure to entice families to want to relocate to McDonough County?
Well, that might take all night to answer that question. There's a lot of things we can do. Need to present a friendly atmosphere, for one thing. City bickering should not be allowed. There's a lot of things, like I say, I could talk on this all night, but go on to the next question.
We'll go on to Mr. Roberts.
So infrastructure broadly defined can be things like roads. We need, on the roads, we could use more trails for bicycles. We could use more trails for hiking. Families want to come here. That's what they look for in places to relocate to. I think infrastructure includes internet service, and we need to push out broadband internet service to rural areas. We know that we learn that people in the different parts of the county can't get internet access as much as they need. We need road safety awareness. We know biking in parts of the county is lovely, but it can be hazardous. So if there's ways to raise awareness of people in the streets who are not in a car, I think the county board could endorse that.
Mr. Thompson?
I agree with Mr. Roberts. We should be looking at infrastructure like bicycling trails, but also looking at things like energy sustainability. People I think, are going to want to move places where they know that the energy is going to be reliable, and businesses the same way. I also believe that this county and other counties around us are going to experience a population increase due to climate change. As things get worse on the edges, people are going to be moving into the middle. They're already doing that. And so we need to think about, how are we going to attract the people that will be moving here from the outside in, so that we become one of the counties that win that particular economic battle rather than not.
Ms. Ketchum?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
Sorry.
What would be ways the board could improve the infrastructure to entice families to want to relocate to McDonough County?
Well, I think, and I know I've talked a lot on this tonight already, but I think a major way to do that is partner with schools. If we can, especially trade schools, there are so many opportunities to get amazing jobs in the trade sector right now. And I think that if we can entice people to say, hey, let's send our kids here. Let's go to Spoon River. Let's go to Western. Learn these trades. It takes 2 years. And then those people that learned how to do that in McDonough County can create those changes for McDonough County. I think that's a great way to do that.
Mr. Litchfield?
I've heard a lot of good ideas about new things to do, but it's also important to think about the things that we currently have, and there's a lot of old that is worth keeping, and I think there's a lot of old that maybe isn't worth keeping. And so getting a good foundation of what exists here in our communities, I think maybe more priority than even bringing new things to the community, new infrastructure to the community. We talked about what exactly infrastructure means. It is all-encompassing, and we have good cooperatives, MTC and McDonough Power, that do supply, I think, quality services to members of our communities. So, of course, working with them is key to extending the reach to places where maybe there isn't reach, and maintaining reach in places where it's vital.
You will each get 1 minute now for closing comments. We will start with you, Mr. Louderman.
As I said earlier, I've lived in McDonough County most of my life. It's been very good to me. This is a way that I would have to maybe give back to the county. It's a wonderful place to live, and we got a lot of wonderful things to offer people wanting to move to this county.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, I would echo Jack. This is a great place for me. It's been my experience in my family, and I would like to have other people come enjoy that. People in the county, throughout the county, have rights to things. They have rights, even in rural areas. They have rights to reliable internet. They have rights to reliable food supply. They have rights to access to good health care. They have rights to recycling in the county if they want it. The county board could help enhance quality of life with, again, more entrepreneurial leadership. The board could use a fresh pair of eyes, like mine, to look at how we spend property taxes, how we can bring outside dollars in. Again, I promise not to miss any board meetings. I don't go south for the winter. And I pledge to work with everybody on the board to get things done.
Mr. Thompson?
I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for the people in this county who need help. I'm going to fight for the future so that we have the future that we want rather than having the future thrust upon us that we don't want. My basic thrust at WIU when I was union leader there was I was known as a fighter. I was combative, but I was also a problem solver and a collaborator. I know when to fight, but I also know when to step back and say, we can solve this problem together. And let's collaborate rather than bang heads, right? So while I believe that we do need to work forward for the future, I would rather we work forward for it together, and I believe that we can. I'm certainly willing to work across partisan lines to do that.
Ms. Ketchum?
I would just like to say thank you to everyone in the League of Women Voters for putting this on, and everyone who has shown up tonight to listen to us. This is my first year running, but it would be a great opportunity to give back to the community that I've lived in for 15 years. My son has lived in for 15 years, and my husband as well. So I pretty much agree with, being able to collaborate and they said it really well. I know when to butt heads, but I also know when to take a step back, and that's great. So I would really appreciate the opportunity to be your county board member.
Mr. Litchfield?
My wife and I have put our roots down here, and we will be here for decades to come. And I care deeply about McDonough County and the communities in it, and I want them to succeed for my kids. Growing up here, I felt like I heard as much, if not more, negative things as I did positive, and I want to change that going forward. So I strive to be community-centric and focused on us, on McDonough County, and appreciate your support. Thank you.
Ms. Litchfield?
And Ryan is right. I've probably heard more negative things than I have positive things here. But the thing is the negative things in this county does not help any of us in this county. So we need to focus on the positive things in this county. And we have a good community and a good county here. And also, I would have to say that our board that we have now, we all work together. It's a bipartisan. We all, if you look at our voting records and that stuff, we're pretty well all are about the same. So thanks for having this, and I'd appreciate your vote.
And please thank the District 3 candidates for showing up and answering your questions this evening. You are dismissed. We would like to hear from one final candidate. That would be Representative Dan Swanson, From the Illinois House, Mr. Swanson will have 5 minutes to speak this evening. Because he is running unopposed, there will be no questions. And it is all yours, Dan. Thanks.
Thank you. It truly is an honor to be here. And to the League of Women Voters, thank you very much for doing this. League of Women Voters were at my Veteran Senior Fair back on September 9th, and they were there to not recruit voters, but to get voter registration completed. For that, I very much thank them for doing that and pushing things forward. Rich and Heather, great job once again. Appreciate being both of you here. And I know you've got some people behind the curtain here, and we appreciate their help too. And to Milo, I get to talk to that group next Tuesday. What a great group of young people that we've got here in Macomb, moving forward in their expanding their skills. One quick question, survey of the audience: who's here for the first time ever at a political event like this? Let's see the hands. Yeah, there's a few here. Thank you very much for being involved. We had some great candidates up here. You've got a decision to make here coming up in a few weeks. Fortunately, I'm blessed. It's only one decision. That's vote for Dan Swanson. I'm blessed in that respect. I'm here this evening with my wife, Tammy. I just got out of a combine a few hours ago now, farmer, 27 and a half year Army veteran. As I shared with my wife, Tam, as we're hitting into Macomb, I said, gosh, my roots to Macomb go back to 1999, when I really was a person of Macomb. I was active duty commanding the Field Artillery Battalion. I used to come down here during the month and on the weekends to visit with B Battery, 2 of the 123 Field Artillery here in Macomb. So my trips to Macomb have been memorable throughout those many years, and I've been a part of that. I am a Western Illinois University graduate. My son Mark is a Western Illinois University graduate. He attended 4 years here. I attended 1 day at Western Illinois University, and that was graduation. I completed my senior year when I was on active duty with the Army, and did it through the Board of Governors program, but they invited me to graduation. I said, hey, who doesn't want to go to graduation, right? So I came down here. My other son, Matt, he graduated from Illinois State University, but all Illinois schools. So a little bit about me, as I've kind of already shared. I'm a farmer. I'm a 27 and a half year Army veteran, a tour in Iraq from July 07 to July 08. And then I was on active duty at the Rock Island Arsenal for 3 years, leading a team of military and civilian members as we transferred a mission from the Pentagon to Rock Island Arsenal, saving millions of dollars on how we equip the Army today. A little bit about what we have going on in Springfield. Here shortly, we'll be going into veto session, which is the 12th, 13th, 14th, 19th, 20, 21 November. That's veto session. Normally, the governor vetoes bills. We go down to take actions on his vetoes. He has not vetoed any bills this year, so it'll probably be more of a collaboration. I heard that word quite a bit here today on some legislation that may be moving forward in veto session. The big event coming up after the first of the year, well, we got election coming up. I should mention that too. Election, don't forget to vote. Get out to vote. And then we'll move into a lame duck session the first part of January. We'll be down there for lame duck for about maybe a week to 10 days at lame duck. Lame duck, if you're not familiar with that term, it means that members who were not reelected, members who lost their seat, or members who elected to retire, members who will not be returning from the 104th General Assembly will have an opportunity to vote on some legislation at that time, and that's when we all say our farewells to them. So one of the big events going on here I've been working with, my district's from Moline to Macomb, about 12 miles wide, and when with folks across Illinois, I tell them I'm in the most educated district in Illinois. I've got Blackhawk College, I have Sandburg College, Knox College, Monmouth College, Western Illinois University, and Spoon River College. So I tell people it's the most educated district in Illinois. I serve on a working group that is trying to bring a more equitable way of funding our universities. And we see the struggles we're having here at Western Illinois University. Close to $500 million in deferred maintenance at WIU. It's incredible what's happened over the years with lack of funding for our universities. Overall, the 10 to 12 universities across Illinois have $5 billion in deferred maintenance. So through the equitable funding model, it's not going to help with the deferred maintenance, but it's going to bring schools on up to a standard that they can keep things moving forward. But been working with Dr. Mindrup quite regularly, attending many different meetings with her, working groups and sessions stuff. I just want to close with one last thought. Get out to vote. Tell people to vote. We need voters. You've set the stage here. We heard some great candidates willing to be part of your county, willing to serve your county. I'm willing to serve your district and serve your state as 108,000 other people across Illinois. These people are willing to serve you. I served on a board of education. I served on a county board. I served on the state now. I enjoy what I do. Hold them accountable too, as you do me as a state representative. So with that, I'm going to close. I do have one last thing. So Sunday mornings. Sundays, Tammy and I will travel to different communities. And we'll attend a breakfast at this fire department. We'll attend a breakfast at this whatever event may be going on. Well, we go to those communities. I've done it here several times in Macomb. You might recognize this. We go to church in that community. And I've got two simple rules. When we go to church in a community, the first rule is I drop Tammy off at the door and I park in the furthest away parking spot. Okay? We walk into church. We don't sit down until the last person in the congregation sits down or the preacher takes the pulpit. Why? Because I don't want to lose votes taking somebody else's seat in church. Okay? So with that, thank you very much. Please get out to vote. Thank you, Macomb.
And early voting is underway at the county courthouse, and of course you can also vote on Tuesday, November 5th. This concludes our program. We want to thank the folks at Macomb High School for hosting us, with special thanks to Robin Kilburn for technical help and to Tyler Corbin and his crew for doing the physical setup. We also want to thank the Macomb Youth Leadership Organization for their assistance and Wyatt Fecht for doing the video work. We invite all the candidates and all the voters here to stay and chat and have some refreshments. This program will be running on Channel 15 and will also be available online through the League of Women Voters of McDonough County's Facebook page and website. Thank you again for showing up. Don't forget to vote, and have a good night.